Hi, I'm Christine Schiavone, and our show is Spiritual Exploration. Tonight, I have with me a wonderful guest who's been on the show before, but she hasn't been in a while. Her name is Mary Silvernail. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Christine. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Oh, my pleasure. Always my pleasure.
Thank you.
You're so good. You're so, you know, as far as like your knowledge about all kinds of subjects is concerned, and it's wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's been my life.
Yes, yes. Well, tonight we're going to talk about Native American healing, which you are a healer with using Native American traditional healing methods
Yes.
and all kinds of different things that help with the healing process,
Yes.
which we will go into and we'll explain what everything is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but tell me now, how did you get started with all this healing, the Native American healing? Well, it goes back a long time in your life, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm part Cherokee, and my husband is part Onondaga. And so it's just something that has always been part of our lives. And I'm also a Holy Fire Karuna Reiki master teacher,
I'm a
which is
Reiki master
yes, you
also.
are. And so that's one form of healing, and reconnective healing is another form of healing. But Native American healing is something that is something I've just always done. I had always done the North American. Native American healing. But a few years ago, I was very blessed with receiving a blessing very unexpectedly from Don Francisco, who is a shaman in Peru.
And there's this picture.
And unexpectedly, I ran into him in 2012 when I was up in New York State doing fire ceremony. We were doing a lot of fire ceremony in 2012 because of what was happening planetarily with the shift.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of talk about, 2012 coming up and what to expect and what not to expect.
Right, right. I mean, I had been up at ceremony more than 4 times that year. Just in order to help with the shift moving into the right direction, and it did. And it did.
That's good,
I mean,
yeah.
we're all still here. Here
That's
we
right.
are. Here we are.
Most of us anyway, right?
Right, right. Here we are. But the thing is that I have many Native American friends. And one of my friends, she's actually a full-blood Mohawk, and she was telling me when she was talking to me about some of the healings she's been doing, mixing some of the Inca healings, the South American healings, with her types of healing, the North American. And to me, I always felt like I'd kind of like be going against what my tradition was. But when she explained to me that when you combine the two of the North American and the South American type of healing, it just becomes so extraordinarily powerful that your healings take a whole new life. And so I had been thinking about that and considering that for quite a while. And then, very unexpected to me, when I was up in New York State, up in the mountains, and we were doing ceremony, it just so happened that Don Francisco, who I just showed you the picture of, happened to be there too. And through a translator, because he does not speak English, he's from Peru and lives up in the mountains of Peru. He told me that he wanted to give me a blessing so that with my prayer bundles, when I do my prayer bundles and my medicines, that it would be more powerful. And it was explained to me that when the condor from the south meets and flies with the eagle from the north, and they fly together, that's when peace will come to the land. And
We haven't seen that yet, huh?
well, it's possible.
Now, you're talking
And
about world peace or
world peace.
really?
This is, yeah. And but that will help. And when you think about the reason that I myself and other people that were there we were doing huge fire ceremony. Why we were there in 2012. And then to receive that message quite unexpectedly, really, he made a believer out of me. Let's just put it that way. But he gave me beautiful, beautiful, beautiful blessing. And so now when I do my healings in my office, or when I do my prayer bundles that I was talking a little bit with you about earlier, a prayer bundle looks like this. It's actually what's called a despacho. And a despacho literally means, here, I'll hold a picture up. This is what one looks like.
Now, that looks like paint thrown at a...
It looks like it, but it's not. What it is food. And this is one of the ones that I had been present with a very large group of people that we prepared together. And what happens is everyone makes a wish in different pieces of food, and different pieces of food represent something. And we place it into a bundle. And we go around in circle, we do ceremony, and then we place everything into this bundle. And then we fold it up like a beautiful, beautiful present. Then we wrap it up, tie it up, and then we make that offering, we burn it at the fire on the new moon.
And what is the purpose of this now?
I think a good analogy is like Genie in the Bottle, the 3 wishes that you get, because you get 3 wishes. When people come to my office and there's a lot of things that have been happening in their life that could be tragic, or if they're dealing with an illness, or could even just be that someone's looking for love in their life, they'll come and ask me to do a prayer bundle for them. And we sit down together at the table in my office, and I prepare this with them. And they're doing part of the ceremony, and I'm doing part of the ceremony, because we want to put their energies into it also. And what it is honoring Great Spirit, honoring the grandmother in the moon, grandmother in the water, by different types of food offerings that we place. And our ancestors, and we bring this all in, and they get to actually blow their wishes into certain items and food. And then when it all gets packaged up together, and then prayer and ceremony is done over the package, Christine, what ends up happening is the person then takes it home with them. And they place it either in their fire pit, or if they're going to a fire ceremony, or even some people use a big pot out in their backyard and
Set it on fire.
Set it on fire. And what happens is people are very, very surprised how quickly it burns. But the key here is that while it is burning, it is the smoke that is actually turning the wind. What was explained to me by Don Francisco that I did not completely understand until meeting with him is that, people can come to you, you're a healer yourself, and when people come to you and they say, why did this happen to me? I bet you've had that happen.
I've even
right?
asked that question myself.
Me too. Why has this happened to me? Or when we think we didn't really deserve for something like this to happen to us. Or why am I not having good luck? Why am I, anyway, this is the thing. Why don't I have peace in my life? The thing is that sometimes all it is just a bad wind that comes along and just blows by you It's as simple as that. And what this does, it actually turns the winds. It turns
So
the
it
winds.
gives you a little shift in luck and things like that?
Major shift.
Wow.
Major shift. Anyone I have ever done a prayer bundle for has always had a very major shift in their lives. Any prayer bundles I have ever done for my family, for myself, or in ceremony, it's always a tremendous shift. And you can actually feel it there. You see, but there's instructions that I give the person exactly what they have to do. If an individual comes to me and wants the despacho made, despacho meaning that it's like a special delivery up to God. Now, it could be for any religious background belief, because I ask the person that. And who do they pray to?
God.
Who do they? Yes. Well,
In other words,
Great
it's the same
Spirit,
God.
Great Spirit, right, is absolutely the same God. But I ask them if they, because the thing is, when we're preparing this, we're calling upon anybody and everybody to come and join us, including and especially all their ancestors that have passed. We bring in the animal kingdom. We bring all the animal kingdom, the energy of the animal kingdom
The
in.
energy of
We bring in
animals that
Mother
you've known,
Earth
that
and
you've pets and things like that?
yes, and all the totems that are in our lives that are helping us and giving us medicine on a daily basis, and we might not even realize it, you know?
So tell me something now.
Yes.
What kind of food? I mean, you put this food, you wrap it up, you burn it. There's an offering.
Yes.
And what kind of food? I see some green stuff and some red stuff.
There's a lot of bay leaves are very, very important
Uh-huh.
in this. That's part of it. Also, we have special little candy frogs. If you want to call it the gods or Great Spirit or goddess, whatever way you wish to think, okay, they like sweets. So there's a lot of sweets that go into this, but there's also corn, because the corn would represent our appreciation and gratitude to our Mother Earth for giving us food to eat.
And
So
abundance and
each
prosperity.
yes. So during the ceremony of preparation of this, each thing that we place in here, each piece of food or any kind of pretty little ribbon or something beautiful like that, anything we put into this is offered up and blessed and prayed over before it goes in, and it comes out in a beautiful design. This one here, what you will see is this is part of a joint prayer bundle, despacho, that was made with myself and other shamans. And what you see here down at the bottom, here's the despacho, but down here, what you see is all their mesas. Now, the mesas are closed and folded right now, but as you noticed, I have on the table here my mesa that's open, that you really, what a mesa is, the mesa is extremely, extremely important whenever we're doing any kind of ceremony, especially any kind of the Inca shaman ceremony. Because what the mesa is something that we all carry as a shaman, that was our journey down our own individual path. And in here, there's different stones that you can see, and each one of these stones, I have several in here, each one of these stones represents a journey that I experienced in my own particular life, and a healing that that I had to go through myself, because any shaman has to heal themselves first prior to being able to then go and heal others. And this was all part of the medicine wheel that I had done.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So when you came in here, this was all wrapped up, just like the
Right,
ones that you just
right.
showed.
It's all
And you
different
keep it
things.
all wrapped up until you're going to use it.
Right, right.
I see.
Or I open it when I am in the middle, when I want to bring all the holiness into the room, all the great energy that is contained in this. This is actually an extension of me, of my soul, of my own healing. This actually, to put this together, it just really looks like a bunch of stones laying on some cloths, but the truth of the matter is that it took many years because each stone represents. When I finally reached the point of my final part of my journey on the medicine wheel, I was given this from a very, very, very high shaman. And what this is actually has the blood of the ancestors in Peru. It's blessed.
Wow.
And it was handed down, and it's handed down, handed down, handed down. But
And those are made out of leather, right?
these are made out of leather, and what they are, because what we work with all the time, whether we're doing the medicine wheel, which the medicine wheel has everything to do with the 4 directions, with the north, the east, the south, and the west. And in any ceremony, we always call upon the winds that come from the south and from the west and from the east and from the north. And then we call upon Great Spirit and we ask the Mother, the Earth, to be here for us with any ceremony.
So now, would you use this to heal another person?
Mm-hmm. What happens is people come to me for things such as the basic healing would be an illumination, but I do soul retrieval, extractions, all different kinds of healings, Native American healings.
So it's physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional.
Absolutely.
Just
Absolutely.
Like that's what Reiki covers too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very similar to a Reiki session that you would do.
Right.
Where you're balancing all the chakras, and these are the 7 chakras. I don't know how well
Explain,
you could see
for those
that.
who don't know what chakras
Okay.
are, explain what chakras are.
Okay. Well, we start with the root chakra, because when your chakras are out of balance, so even in Native American healing, bottom line, that's part of. It's part of what we're doing. It's extremely important. I mean, even at the point of lifting the soul and allowing the soul at the time of death to leave this earth, and when we go through the death ceremony. But what it is starting at your root chakra and then up to your sacral, which is the second chakra, which is right above your private area and below your belly button. And then a few inches above your belly button is the solar plexus. And then we have the heart chakra, and then the throat chakra, the third eye, the crown, and then there are other chakras above.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Now, these chakras are what? Energy centers, correct?
Major energy centers, yes.
And sometimes they get a little out of whack and they need to be straightened out. And sometimes a person is healed when the chakras get straightened out.
Right. And part of a Native American healing, a basic Native American healing with me, part of it is where a person will come in and lay down on my massage table, of course after I interview them and everything, but will come in and lay down on my massage table, and I want to see exactly what's going on with each chakra, just as you do in a Reiki session, correct? Okay. And sometimes what I use for that is a pendulum. And depending upon which way the pendulum swings, and this one will show whether there's negative or positive energy, whether it's open or it's closed. Do you use?
I have one, yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
use this too.
On occasion, I use
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's very similar. Any kind of a healing, because what we're talking about right now is, as the form of Native American healing, is energy healing. But, we haven't discussed the herbal healing yet or anything like that.
Right.
So there's all different forms that, a shaman will use. But with the energy healing, it's really just getting you in balance, but then bringing in the light, very, very similar to Reiki, to the chakra, where it needs to be. But there's other things that also go on in it. And when I'm doing a Native American healing, I may be using one of my rattles, which, as you can see, I have several of them. God bless you.
Thank you. What would you like to?
Yeah, I have several of them. I have a lot of different ones for different things. And if you ask me, well, which one, it's the tones in them. The majority of the time of all the rattles that I have, and yes, that's a turtle.
Oh my
okay.
goodness.
Well, I'll explain about that too.
Okay.
Yes, that's a turtle. When I use different rattles for different things, as I said, but the majority of the time, it's this tiny little hummingbird one that I use. I love using this one to open the chakras. And what I do, now, you don't use a rattle in
No.
Reiki,
No,
right?
no.
Okay. But I use a rattle, I use drumming, because there's many things that I'll use my rattle for.
Do you ever combine the Reiki with the Native American healing?
When I do it, when people come to me for a Reiki session, I always ask them if they mind if I also include a little bit of Native American healing, and with that, I'll include some rattling and drumming. But just a strictly Native American healing, I am not doing Reiki.
Right.
I carry the
So in other words,
attunement
you'll
and the
add-
light.
Right. You'll
Right.
add the Native American to the Reiki, but not the Reiki to the Native American.
Well, because many times when a person comes to see me for a Native American healing, it's for like a soul extraction, or for when I say that, what I'm referring to is, and Reiki, I mean, there are different things, processes that you can use in Reiki in order to help send an attachment to the light.
Now,
Right.
explain what you mean by a soul extraction or an attachment. That's
Okay,
A
okay.
spirit that has attached itself to a person.
Okay. Well, it could be a good spirit.
Yeah.
When one of our loved ones passes, many times they love us so much and they feel so attached to us, they want to stay with us. And especially if we were present or holding the person's hand at the time of their passing.
Mm-hmm.
You see, as a shaman, when I have had clients and students of mine come to me and ask me to either go to their family who is passing, or I just recently, last year, lost, well, I shouldn't say lost, but he went through the veil, a student of mine, and he had actually called me from the hospital and asked me to come and help him, because what we do is we open the chakras when so that a soul can make a gentle journey home and not have to feel any kind of attachment, so that they're able to leave their body very gently and easily and go directly to the light.
Now we go through the light, but we can come back. I mean, because I could feel my parents around me and other people.
Absolutely, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I mean,
So it's not like they're attached. It's that they're
well,
visiting.
sometimes they're attached.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're attached.
But that could be a good thing too, I guess, in some ways.
Yes, it can be, but it can be energy draining.
Oh, really? Because, like,
Yes.
say your mother, if she's...
Oh, she comes to visit. That's
Right,
good.
yeah.
And then she leaves.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't leave. This is the thing. Sometimes there's a person's energy will be drained tremendously from a soul attachment. And the reason I say that, I had a client of mine who had a miscarriage. And many years ago, her miscarriage had happened. And she couldn't understand why she had kept feeling she dealt with tremendous depression. And she couldn't understand why, no matter what she did, she just could never completely move on from this, even though she had other children, et cetera, et cetera. Thing was, she really did. The little soul
Attached itself.
was attached.
Aw.
Yeah, it was sweet. It was
Aw,
beautiful,
yeah.
actually. But the thing is that was not allowing that little soul to be able to move on, to be able to reincarnate and go through the proper processes and channels in order to reincarnate and go through that little soul's, which I'm going to tell you. I mean, when I had done the extraction, it was a little female. And she would not have been able to go through her own journey. She was actually relieved to come out and be sent up to the light. And there's a whole process that happens. The person will come to my office and we'll go through a very sacred ceremony. And then there's some physical things that happen, and all it is just some touch. And then what I use is, this is called an extraction crystal. And it's a perfect
I can see that. That
precision.
That was cut like a diamond.
Crystal. This crystal is extremely powerful because this is the crystal that I actually bring the soul's energy into during the extraction. And then once the client leaves, once we're done, et cetera, that evening I'll do a fire ceremony to send the sweet soul up to the light.
Wow.
And it's
And if it's not
quite beautiful.
If it's a negative soul,
Okay, I'm very selective as far as extractions go, because there are people that will call me and say, I'm possessed.
Oh, no.
And yes, well, I mean, I have...
and they know it.
Yeah, or... perhaps a relative will call and say that they feel that their relative is possessed or something like that. And there is such a thing as possession.
Yeah,
Absolutely there is.
I'm sure there is.
But I'm very selective and careful about dealing with any kind of a dark energy. Very selective. Because sometimes it's just that perhaps a man has his wife had passed away and went through the veil, but never really got through the veil and just attached herself to him, and because they were so connected and attached in this life, they don't want to let that go. Yet he starts noticing then that his energies are so low, which then is causing him illnesses such as sugar diabetes or things like that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So because what can happen is if your energy gets too low, as you know, you will develop illnesses.
Sure.
And that's why you do Reiki. That's why I do Reiki. That's why, I also do Native American healing in order to bring the energies into perfect balance. But what happens is that sometimes it just becomes too heavy and too hard. And I'm not talking about visitation. For goodness sake, I mean, I am constantly back and forth with my father who passed. My father who I had mentioned to you before, and he's been gone since 1984. But he comes to me and we have conversation, he helps me, and then he moves back to the light. Sometimes they don't move back to the light. And sometimes there is a soul attachment that just wants to attach themselves to a person, which this is something very important. That a person may suddenly realize that, oh, I have this addiction that I never had before. And then they realize that they were at the bedside of a friend who had passed on, who had been highly addicted to gambling. And all of a sudden, this person starts having those feelings and things like that. Well, an
need to go and get a
extraction
slot
is
machine or
needed.
something.
Yeah, really. You know, so
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, Christine. But so that's why an extraction would be done, and it's very uplifting for the person who experiences it.
Now, how do you know?
And they can actually feel it coming out of them physically.
Really?
Beautiful. It's beautiful, though.
How do you know if you have someone attached to you?
If you start noticing that your energy levels are getting very, very low, and someone has passed, and it isn't, and you've already gone through the normal progression of grieving and mourning, but yet somehow you just feel as though your energy just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping, then there's or if you suddenly notice that you start having completely different likes or dislikes, like maybe of the one that had passed that you had been close to.
What
That
about
kind of thing.
what about animals or pets? That they,
Oh.
you know, I mean, do they go to the light and come back and go back and forth too?
I'm in the middle of writing a book right now
Yeah.
on pet reincarnation.
Really?
Oh, yeah, because as an astrologer, as a professional astrologer, I have, and I've gone over this with other astrologers too, that I very much respect. And I have the exact degrees, et cetera, that now I have the scientific proof of the reincarnation of the soul of my pet Capri, my little Maltese dog.
Aw.
And she has now reincarnated twice. I mean, I had it down to such a science astrologically that, I mean, I have the proof.
So do you know where she is now?
She's with me.
Oh, really? She's another pet.
Yeah.
Is she
She's
a Maltese?
reincarnated twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Has she been reincarnated twice as a Maltese?
Yeah.
Really? Amazing. And
Yeah.
so you kind of tracked her down or something? And
Well, yeah, astrologically, what happened was when my husband and I had, when our Capri had passed, she was our little girl. And when she passed, it devastated us, completely
sure.
devastated
I'm
us.
sure.
As a lot of people could understand, you know, there's people, sometimes people don't understand, unfortunately, that pets are a part of your family. So anyway, but she was our little girl. We were like totally devastated. So between us, with prayer, manifestation, pure will, mysticism, and astrology, I got down to the exact, from her previous chart and her soul, I got down to exactly the longitude, latitude, and the date that she would be born.
Wow.
And that is exactly what happened. And it was amazing because when she came, when we brought her home, she came in the house. I have a very long hallway because each room is off the hallway. And we brought home her twin, which was our sweet dog Bailey, who also had just recently passed now. But she brought him home. That was her twin. And he came home too. Now, he veered off into the living room. Not her. she went directly, this tiny little thing. She was only a couple of pounds. She was only 10 weeks old, and a little Maltese, right?
Right.
She ran right down the hall, went into the family room, stood at the exact spot where she used to eat her dinner every night, and just looked at me like, okay, Mommy, where's my bowl? And then there was thing after thing after thing that would occur that we knew that it was her.
How did you track her down?
I did it again.
To a breeder, and you did it after?
No, I did it again because I found out the longitude, the latitude.
So this
Plus
second,
in the dream state, and my husband helped me too. My husband and I together did this.
Right, the second one then passed also then and was reincarnated.
Gabriella. And Capri had reincarnated to Gabriella. Gabriella literally held on to life until I drove her. She died at the hospital in my arms. She was not euthanized.
Right.
She had screamed suddenly, and she had been ill. She had gone through a couple of years that we were able to extend her life in a beautiful way, healthy way. And so anyway, what happened though is she left this earth, of course, Capri all over again, devastated. And I did it before, I did it again. But this time, where we ended up having to go, and I told my husband the longitude and latitude, and he was like, Mary, but...
In other words, you figured out where on Earth this was going to
Well,
happen.
yes, because with astrology,
Right.
what you're looking at is the longitude, the latitude. Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So where'd you
Let me
find
tell
the
you, if
third
she
one?
had been in China, I would have been there.
Uh-huh. So where was she?
Arizona.
And so you went out to Arizona to
Yes.
get her?
Yes.
Wow, this is
Yes.
an amazing story.
Yes, yes. And at the same time, she had a twin. And we brought her home. And let me tell you something. Our Ariel, that's her name, Ariel Lily, and her sister, her twin sister, is Tiffany Rose. Ariel was only a pound. And we brought them home on the plane.
Oh.
And it was something, let me tell you, but amazing. Very long trip. Have you ever flown out to the West Coast?
Yes, on a couple of occasions.
Long trip,
It's a long
right?
trip,
Can
yes.
you imagine with two brand new little puppies?
Oh, boy.
On the plane with us. So, but what happened was when, oh man, what happened was we brought Tiffany home also. And that was because Bailey, see, Gabriella and Bailey were the original, were there was Capri. Then came Gabriella and her twin brother Bailey, which there's other things I'm going to be writing about in the book in reference to Bailey.
We'll do a show about it when you're all done.
But then Bailey, all right, was very sick and just could not get back in the step of life after Gabriella left this earth.
Aw.
Yeah. So then when Tiffany and Ariel came home, very shortly thereafter, Bailey transferred his essence into Tiffany.
Really?
It is amazing, like the similarities. It's like, I know it sounds a little bit like wishful thinking, but that's why astrology really takes a big major role into this.
Yeah.
Because it's science, it's actual degrees and, where the planets exactly are and the aspects of each one, et cetera, for the soul's journey of Capri.
Wow, that's an
Okay.
amazing story.
I know. We kind of like got off
Got a
the
little off
track.
but it was-
Sorry.
That's all right, but it was
Sorry,
interesting, I'm
but
sure.
where did I believe that pets, what you originally had said?
Right.
Yes, sometimes
They can attach too.
They attach too, but it's so nice because we have, unless it lowers your energy, but sometimes because it's not really meant to be. Attachments are not meant to be. Visitors are meant to be. Attachments pulling out your energy
Right.
and utilizing it is not good.
Right.
But anyway, so I believe in.
Well, that was really such an.
okay.
I mean, I was fascinated by that story. You have a few more things you want to show us?
Oh yeah. So before, when you were looking at this and you said, "Oh, turtle. This rattle here."
It looks like a turtle.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at it saying,
Yes.
what
Now,
is this?
Yeah. See?
Is that a turtle that died of
Navajo.
natural causes
Huh?
or what? Did it die of natural causes?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes.
Well, I don't know. People
Yes.
kill things for different reasons.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, I'm not saying that you would, but I'm just saying
No,
that
no.
that it's happened.
Now this is your. Here, I'll put this down on the floor. This we were talking about before, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you said you have a
That's-
very strong. Go ahead.
Oh yes, that is Blessed Takawitha Kateri.
Yes.
She's actually not blessed anymore. She's saint.
She's a saint.
She was canonized, I believe, by not Pope Francis, Pope John Paul II canonized her.
2012.
2012.
2012. And this picture is actually from my office. of
She's
her.
beautiful. She really is.
Yes.
Well, let's tell a little bit about her story now, because I'm sure a lot of people don't know that she was a young Indian maiden in the 1600s.
Yes, go ahead.
And she lived upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
And she was with her tribe living, and she found Jesus. She embraced Jesus. And the tribe started to persecute her for her Christian beliefs. So what did she do? She packed up and she left. And she walked from upstate New York to Montreal, Canada, where other Indians from other tribes had been gathering and forming a community of Native Americans who embraced Christianity.
Yes.
And that's where she went, and then she lived out the rest of her life there. But she died at the tender age of 24 from smallpox.
Yes.
But 15 minutes after she passed away, all the smallpox on her body disappeared. And so the Catholic Church finally, now this is from the 1600s to 2000, so almost 400 years it took, but she finally was canonized Saint Takawitha Kateri.
Yes. Yes. I was so impressed when you were telling me earlier that you knew the story of her.
I went up to the shrine and everything upstate.
Oh, that's beautiful. Because this is who I work with in my office.
Wow, she's just a wonderful, wonderful. I have her picture.
Yeah, she's the first Native American saint.
Yes.
First Native American saint. And so that says a lot.
That does say
Right?
a lot. Absolutely.
That says a lot.
Now she really loved Jesus, and she was persecuted by her own people for it.
Yes.
But she's in a good place now. That's for sure.
But you would be surprised nowadays, Native Americans cherish the Catholic religion quite a bit.
Well, that's nice.
Right, in many ways.
Yeah.
And so myself being very eclectic, you come to my office, you'll see lots of Native American things, but you'll also see the angels, and you'll see the Blessed Virgin Mary. And because I work with everybody.
Right. No,
I feel
believe
anybody and everybody
Yes,
who can
exactly.
come in and help.
Everybody's got something to offer.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. So now,
What do you do with those little bells over there?
I saw you looking at them. Yeah. Well, this is also part of, now the rattling.
Kind of like the rattling.
Yes, like the rattling and the drumming. I didn't bring my drum here today, too, because I
Would have
had a
been
lot of,
a little cumbersome.
Yeah. So, but the bells, see? One is masculine and one is feminine. And this brings balance. And so after I do a healing, a Native American healing, part of what I do is I ring the bells around the body to rid anything and
Negative.
everything negative away. And this is towards the end of the healing, actually. And you know how the bells ring in church?
Yes.
Did you ever notice that? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See? There's so many similarities, but also to chase away anything negative. But when we kind of like got off the subject about the rattles a little bit. Now, each rattle has a different tone. So dependent upon the energy that I'm feeling, I use a different rattle. And this one I use quite a bit with when I'm working with Saint Kateri.
Really?
Yes, because one of her totems that she works very well with is the turtle.
Wow, amazing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to have a turtle. We found it.
Yeah.
But we found a home for it with a guy who loves turtles and had big gigantic tanks
Yes.
and took her, and she lived happily ever after.
Now the fans that we have over here.
Yes. the fans.
Okay. The fans that we have over here. They're pretty, aren't they? Now
Very
this
pretty,
one,
very.
this one has a little bit of a broken feather because I've used it for many years. But that's okay with me because it works very well. And this fan I just call broken feather.
Do you use them with like sage to let the smoke go?
That's
something like that?
part of it.
Yeah.
That's part of it. You can use it that way. But I also do a sweeping of the body and to remove energies from the body. I go over the body to remove anything negative or to move the energies. But yes, I use this because before I do any healing, the first thing I do is a blessing and call upon all the ancestors and call upon all the directions and everyone to come in and help and ask for a blessing. And then what I do is absolutely sage. And I didn't bring my shell with me today, but I put a little bit of sage. Now, my sage, the only place, and I also have a New Age center in New Jersey, in Waretown, that I sell this kind of sage, but that's because that's what I use. And so a lot of my clients like to buy it because I get it from Sedona.
Oh, really?
Sedona.
It's one place I would like to visit.
Oh, you have to.
I know I have to.
You have
Definitely
to.
have to.
Absolutely. I try to get there. You have to. You're
One of
going to
these
feel
days.
different.
Yeah, I
You-
know. I
you
hear
really
it's a
are.
very different energy
And
there, and beautiful
absolutely.
spiritual place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The thing is, though, I have to tell you about that. Just be a little careful, like when you go on tours. Lots of times when especially a very spiritual lady like you would want to go on perhaps maybe a Native American spiritual tour.
That would be nice.
Yes. Just make sure who you're going with and make sure if you go into any of the caves that you're very careful about that.
Because you
Because
can get
you
hurt
need
doing
to,
that, huh?
you can. You
Yeah.
can, because there's a lot of portals,
Ah.
and you want to be very careful about that.
Also, make sure that nothing attaches itself to you when you're in there.
Thank you.
Yes, you have to kind of protect yourself.
Thank you.
Put white light of protection around yourself before you go in.
Another shaman friend of mine and I went out a couple of years ago to Sedona. We had been out in California and then drove across the desert, the Mojave Desert, out to Sedona. And so we had been gone for 2 weeks. And my husband, as I said, he's part Native American, he had asked me, please don't go into the caves. I just have a feeling that you shouldn't. And she got a little annoyed with me that
you
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
go.
Into the caves. I did a lot of other things.
Right,
I had
sure.
a beautiful time. But I didn't go into the caves. He just had a feeling, and he told me. So I didn't. So she did. What happened was something changed about her. And when we got back to New Jersey, shortly thereafter, she had passed away.
Really? You think
Yeah.
that had anything to do with going into the
Yeah,
cave?
she was
and-
not the same.
Really?
Even when we were coming home on the plane, she just was not the same.
Really?
Something changed. She knew it too. She knew it. Yeah. Anyway, so
Excuse me.
so anyway, also what I use is this spirit water, which is simply Florida water, but it's blessed. And this is, like how you would use holy water, but we actually use this through our mouths. We
Drink it?
We don't drink it. We put it in our mouths and we spray the person with it at the end. I know. It's kind of like spitting on them.
Yeah, I know.
I
I mean,
know.
what do people say about that?
I know. Well, they everything gets explained first, you know what I mean? And they don't mind because it's
Because they know
something-
what's coming.
Yeah, it isn't spitting in somebody's face or something like this. It's just a little bit of a spray that goes. And we also use this when we're calling upon the ancestors and the directions and things like this. We'll use some of this. So that's why I brought this too,
Yeah, no.
to show you.
Sure.
And another thing that I do, I'm a professional astrologer, as you very well know. I
Yes.
write the horoscope column for newspapers, magazines, and people come to me for readings. I'm a psychic astrologer medium. But I also do Native American readings. And what that is throwing stones. And on this cloth, and I'll hold it up here, you see there's 4 different squares on this cloth. And what happens is I lay it out on the table, and then I take stones, certain stones that I use, but you could use any kind of stones as long as they've been empowered and blessed. And sometimes, I'll do this without the cloth, if I'm up in the woods and somebody asks me to look at something for them, I'll do it with just the stones that I find on the ground. And these are some, here.
Yeah, you have stones that people would carry around with them. You
Yeah,
have,
right.
You have a clear quartz. You have
Right, lapis, and yeah, we have all malachite. Okay, these are just some of them because these are the ones that I use in my office when I throw them. And all it is that I just throw them on the cloth and I see where they land.
the cloth is where now at this point?
Okay. The cloth
Would be
is
on-
right in front of me,
in front of you.
or you could even do this on the ground and just draw the 4 squares.
Oh, really? Without the
yes,
cloth?
in dirt.
Uh-huh.
But if somebody comes to my office, then this is the way that I'm doing it. All
Right,
right.
so now
and then they ask me a question, and I blow on the stones, and then I give them the stones like this, and then they blow into them too, their question, and they blow their prana in,
Are
their
they
energy,
holding
their
the
voice.
stones themselves, or you're holding them?
I give them 1 stone to hold, and then they put them back in, and then we throw them. I throw them.
So now you're
And
able
then I
to
do
tell
a reading from that.
from the way they land what they're saying.
Well, yes, kind of like even, runes. We were talking about runes before.
Right.
I actually have, I have some of them with me, but that is not what we're,
That's not what
the
this show
subject.
is
That's
about,
not what
right?
this show is about.
Runes have nothing to do with American
Right,
Indians.
right.
Right, so that
but,
makes no sense.
But a reading can be done with anything, bottom line.
Oh, I'm
So
sure.
the Native American people, if they're sitting somewhere and someone comes in and says to them, "Listen, I have this problem." Say we're sitting at ceremony or afterwards, after ceremony, and we're all just talking or eating or whatever, and then they say, "Listen, I have this problem. I'd like your opinion on it, or could you look and see, or whatever." You could just sit there and draw it in the dirt and throw the stones. And what it does, just like a tarot card reader would get information from the tarot cards, or an astrologer, as myself, would get information from the planets and where they are landing, where the planets are on a person's chart. Where the stones land answer the questions, because it's really what it is. It's intuitiveness. It isn't just where the stones go. It's the intuitiveness of looking at where particular stones are.
What kind of messages you get from
exactly. Yep.
I see. Well, that's very interesting.
Yep.
Well, do you have anything else to show us? Because we're winding down.
Oh, we are, aren't we?
Yeah, I think that you've covered just about everything here, huh?
Yeah, well, we didn't really talk about herbs, and herbs are extremely important.
Well, you know what?
We believe, go ahead.
Another show.
Okay.
We'll talk about herbs
Okay,
and
I
how
won't
they.
go into the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
we covered
that is
everything that you brought with you was covered.
Thank you. Yes, I would say. Yes,
So I would
say.
just like to say
Thank
thank you so much for being here and for sharing all this wonderful information with us about Native American healing and how our Native American ancestors did it.
Oh, yeah, with the earth.
Okay, then.
Everything from the earth.
Well, thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Christine, for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And I would like to tell everybody that I hope that you enjoyed the show and say good night.